is our distinct pleasure today. We have a special guest with us. We are honored to introduce Ms. Juliette Rizzo, who happens to be Miss Wheelchair USA 2005. Juliette was also ranked in Maryland's top 100 women and is the Deputy Director of Special Projects and Partnerships for the United States Department of Education. She is here to share her story. Please welcome Juliette.
Are you ready to see me step it up? I am rising to the occasion. I am rising to the occasion of what happens when you, as champions, make people with disabilities visible in our communities today. Thank you, Surgeon General, for doing just that. I looked up rollability in the Urban Dictionary. The ability, it said, of how well you can roll your soccer socks down while getting ready for soccer practice. Used as a sentence, look at the rollability of those socks. Then it went into the words that you could make out of the rollability word when playing Scrabble. And while that's not the definition for us here today, it brought back memories of my abilities as a little girl with multiple severe disabilities, what I longed for. I longed to stand out there with my peers in the field and the track up the street. I longed to run with them, to walk with them, to play soccer with them. And my mother got me a little soccer dress. And my mother got me a basketball. But all I wanted was to join everyone else. I also looked up the word walkability, and I realized it's not just for pedestrians, it's not just for bicycles, but it's for wheelchair passengers like myself. I represent the other hidden army, the army of people with disabilities out there today who want to participate in walking and rolling with everyone else. One young lady said to me in the disability community, disabled, what does it stand for? DISABLED, deserving individuals seeking a better life and education and a date. But today, Surgeon General, I changed that. And I changed that to say deserving individuals seeking a better life, exercise, and a date. Walkability and rollability are good for all of our communities. People with disabilities like me who don't drive tremendously benefit from walkable and rollable communities. The independence, the freedom, the dignity, the connectedness to our neighborhoods and our neighbors. I didn't even have to run for office or play Foursquare on the internet because I'm known as the mayor of my community because of its rollability. I also am the one of every 2 adults in this country living with chronic disease. And not just one disease, I have 4. And I'm glad all of these doctors are my doctors here today, prescribing rollability and walkability for me. I have rheumatoid arthritis. And with rheumatoid arthritis, if you don't move it, you will lose it. The cardiovascular risks for me are strong. The secondary conditions, I have numerous ones, too many to name today. The weight gain, not by choice, not by poor eating habits, sometimes just by the prescription drugs that some of us need just to be able to breathe daily. 50% of adults with disabilities don't get enough or any aerobic exercise. And adults with disabilities like myself are 3 times more likely to have chronic diseases. I already have 4, I don't need any more. I cringed just weeks ago when the doctor looked at me and said, what are you doing to exercise? And I watched him write the notes down in my chart. And because of medications, because of somewhat of a sedentary lifestyle, even though I was out there 19 months ago boxing in a boxing gym, swimming, walking, rolling, and doing everything I needed to do, with a secondary condition, I've put on 70 pounds of fluid. And I am now diagnosed as morbidly obese. I will not claim that definition. I will claim the opportunity to exercise like everyone else. Exercise is hard work for me. You make it a lot easier today. There are so few places that I can exercise and it's expensive, but walking and rolling are always affordable. Making a town more affordable doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes it's simply, as we're doing here today, a change of attitude. And while you may not think that rolling around in a wheelchair is aerobic activity, such as walking, I am balancing myself up here in this chair right now. I am moving and shifting my body weight continuously around turns and down paths. This is how I walk. How I walk, I believe, is a movement that is starting. I believe NCPAD tomorrow is rebranding walking to include people like me. With one hand, go ahead, give them a hand for that. And that's the National Center on Health, Physical Activity, and Disability, partnering with all of us to make it happen. With one hand on this joystick, I use my arm strength to pump. I pump like this, and I even try to move my legs like I'm walking and like I'm rolling. Overall, I'm talking, I'm exercising my lungs. I'm putting my driving skills to the test, of course, making sure I don't run any of you over in my path. I'm avoiding fender benders, and of course, I'm getting fresh air, and my heart is moving. Most of all, it's the friendship and the camaraderie with all of you that comes from this. Walking and rolling help level the playing field, as the Surgeon General has done here today, giving people with disabilities common interests with their peers. I met my colleague Augie at a conference. Augie didn't see me as anybody different. Augie turned around and said, "Hey, how would you like to go walk with me after the conference? How would you like to go jog with me?" I never put on a pair of shorts so fast. And while I did it a little differently with him, I became the pace car, but I was out there with everyone else. It's important to make the most of your physical well-being, regardless of your abilities. My commitment remains very, very strong, and I asked our community leaders present in this room today to share and step up and stand behind all of us here to help our communities become more accessible to everyone. Picture yourself needing to use a wheelchair. How would you get around? The design of the streets, the buildings, the infrastructures, and public spaces strongly impacts the health of our communities for residents like me. In the spirit of this call to action, if a friend or a relative has a disability, please ask them if they find their community accessible. If not, ask what can be changed. Dedicate yourself to making your community livable. We must change our attitudes and include people with disabilities. From the disability movement, echo the words, "Nothing about us without us." In planning these efforts, do what was done here today by the Surgeon General, include us. And I ask him here today, as we move forward with this call to action, to please include people with disabilities in any federal interagency work groups. We'd love to be a part of it. Most importantly, we've got to stop the stereotypes with people with disabilities and looking at them for what they can't do. Look at us for what we can do. It is important to do what we can to stay in shape at all ages and all stages. Before I lost my abilities to walk, I walked around the track at my university. And limping around with my legs dragging a little bit behind me, I saw each and every one of you and your abilities. I saw your long legs, I saw your strides, I saw you power walking, and I saw then what I couldn't do. Then I heard it. Coach, look at how fast she is. Of course, I looked behind me at you and in front of me and thinking it was you. But then I realized the comment was directed at me. From the middle of the track were 50 Special Olympians practicing for their Olympics. I was their hero, and they identified with me walking around that track. Every one of us can be somebody's hero. Every one of us can be someone's champion. Today, you are the champions of not only walkability and rollability, but possibility. Disability advocates have dreamed of this day for over 40 years when a federal official literally gets both the issues of walkability and rollability and puts the message out there in front of everyone so that people like ourselves can see image of ourselves out there with everyone else, not just today, but all year long. I say from action to access to active. I may be sitting down to you today, but today I proudly take a stand with the U.S. Surgeon General of the United States and his team as part of the walking and rollability culture in America. You walk, I roll, and I hope you find the courage to join us all. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Miss Wheelchair USA 2005.
Thank you.
Wasn't that awesome? So inspiring to have her here today. Thank you, Juliette, for spending time with us today.
Sightseeing, made my suit